Hello guys, welcome back to welcome back to School World. Yes, our name changed. So now today I'm back with Grade 8 Physics Chapter 1 Force and Pressure Part 2 by School World team. Yes. So let's start. Now let's play. Did you remember last part where we played cricket? So yes, last time we just made a boring thing like force very interesting by playing cricket. So today we will play another game, that is Tug-of-War. Yes, in this game people double quote pull double quote the rope with a tie in between. There are two teams. Whosoever pulls the tie to their part wins. So now let's come. Forces, balanced and unbalanced. So according to categories, there are two categories of forces, that is balanced and unbalanced. For knowing that, we will need to do a little understanding of tug-of-war. So let's begin. And before beginning tug-of-war, we will begin with an awkward situation, which is created by super glue. Yes, you might have heard super glue or Fevikwik or etc. Yes. For example, the thing spill on the floor. It was not that super, it was a super glue. Now there was a box which was kept on it. The who was pushing it was not knowing, so he just kept it on it. And take the man, then he just tried pushing. You can see in the picture. Yes, he just tried pushing from one side to the other so that it moves ahead. But it was not being pushed with amount of force. For example, if he took 15 newtons of force, then too it was not being pushed. Let it be aside. Now let's take another situation. For example, you have gum boots and you are going somewhere in rain, but you don't want to go without the gum boots. At that time, you just forgot your gum boots at the home. So now there is your sister and your mother who are just quarreling. For why? For what reason? Do you know? Yes, you are just standing in the middle. There is your sister who wants you to go outside and just pushing you towards the door of the home. I'm really sorry for that. Who is pushing you towards the door of your home? You can see, wait. Who is pushing you towards the door of your home? While there is a mother who doesn't want you to go inside, and she is just pushing towards the house. But what is happening? You are not moving. Why so that? Why are you not moving? As force is applied, you should move. As I said, or as you all know, that force makes an object move. Yes, this is not happening because, for example, your mother and your sister were just pushing you with the same force. For example, your sister was pushing you with the 5 Newton force. Your mother was pushing you with the 5 Newton force too. So what actually happens now? Let me make you understand. So for example, count this as a number line. You are at 0. This is the positive end, this is the negative end. Now for example, from here your mother is pushing at a force of 5 Newton and your sister is pushing you at the force of 5 Newton too. So this is mostly negative. As I said, this is negative. Consider it negative, consider it positive. Now the force which is being applied on you is nothing. It's the sum of both the force applied from each direction. As I said, minus 5 Newton from this side and plus 5 Newton from this side, which is nothing but 0 Newton. So this is actually called the net force, means the force which is the sum of the force applied on both the sides. So this is the net force. This is 0, so you are not moving. 0 means no force is applied, nothing is happened to you. Because of that you are not moving. And you can say both are of equal power, so you are not moving and they are not moving. They are just applying a force on you. Consider if you were a box in this last figure we saw, and this was one person, this was another person. If they applied the same force, it wouldn't move. Now, what the thing comes to action is nothing. But what happened if your mother was applying a y force, y Newton's force, and your sister was applying x Newton's force? Then x plus y Newton's force is equals to the net force I can say. Also, if your mother was applying 7 newtons of force and your sister was applying 12 newtons of force, what would happen? This is minus 12, this is plus 7, so it would be minus 5 newton, which is nothing but this side, moving this side. Actually, as I said, the force according to number line, the force acting upon from the which side. For example, this side the force acting is the force of the sister, and this side the force acting is this side is of. I am really sorry for that, but you might be confused, so let me make it again. You can see that negative force, negative is moving to this side, and positive force, positive means moving to this side. So sister is pushing this way, so this is positive force. I'm really sorry for that, and this is negative force. Now I will say you, if your sister was applying 12 newtons force and your mother was applying minus 7 newtons force, the net force would be 9 newton force, and thus you would move in the positive direction, which is nothing but towards outside. Now here comes the scalar and vector quantities. What is scalar quantity? Scalar quantity are only numbers or magnitudes of the fundamentals. For example, 5 newton, 7 newton. But what we did is describe the direction. 5 centimeter or 7 centimeter, anything can work. Now what we did is describe direction. How to describe direction? We considered it positive, we considered this direction negative. So here you can see that we said 12 newton, here we said minus 7 newton. In a proper way, if we are writing not like this, we would write 5 newtons of force towards the right. Now what happens is when we add the force, we get a force. For example, here we got 5 newton. Now we need to say in which direction. If your mother was pushing with minus 12 newton, so you should do this. Or if your sister was pushing with 12 newton, you should do this. I'm really sorry. So you should do this. Yes. Now let's move on to the next slide. 2 to 0, that becomes the hero. Yes. So now take the previous example. This one. Yes, here we are. So you were only pushing the glued stick box, but when 2 persons came here, as we saw in the previous one, that if 2 persons are there, the bigger one, the smaller force is subtracted from the bigger force. And also we saw if we considered it as negative and positive, we just add them. Here we just add them because they are only pushing in one direction. So consider this positive only, and he is giving a force of 5 newton, and for example, she is your sister, she is your mother, she is giving 5 newton, so their force will be added up. Both want you to go out, but you don't want. So first your sister was pushing with 5 newton, and for example your speed at that time was only 1 kilometer per hour, but now it has increased to double, 2 kilometer per hour, as both the persons are pushing, and the net force acting on you is 10 newton this side. Also in the same box, for example, I said that person was giving a 15 newton force. One more person, who is your sister, came for 5 newton force. Total will be 20 newton force this way, and the box will finally move from the sticked paper, from the sticked glue. Now let's play Tug-of-War. Yeah, I was interested for it. Yes, let's play Tug-of-War. So you can see equal number of people are there in both the sides. You can see this is tie. Now this part is for them and this part is for them. Now what happens is that if these persons make it such that this tie comes to their part, or if these persons make it that this tie comes to their part, then they win. So what the fundamental idea is, there we show of pushing of box or blocks. Yes, but now we will see pulling of a rope, which is nothing. For example, they are pulling from both from the same side. So you can see, for example, this person is giving a force of 5 Newton, this of 10 Newton, and this 2 of 5 Newton. Then net force over here that will make the rope move this side is, you can see, it's nothing but 20 Newton force. Plus here, let me show you afterwards. First let me calculate theirs. So they are also same, but only last one is different. It's 10 and the last one has 15. So the force is 30 Newton, right? Now comes the positive negative idea. So for example, consider this as negative. This is negative. If they are pulling this way, then it becomes negative and their force is negative, and this is positive, so their force is positive. This is positive 30, this is negative 20. Subtract, or now we add them both, which is nothing but 10 Newton force in a positive way, which is nothing this way. So the rope will get 10 Newton force this way, and thus if this same thing continue after certain point of time, the tie will reach here and they will win. Hooray! Also, one more thing left. We can see other way. For example, by this way and by this way, 20 Newton force is applied by this way and 30 Newton force is applied by this way. So we can calculate it by 30 Newton this way minus 20 Newton this way. That will finally be 10 Newton this way. Thus the rope goes here. Now what would happen? For example, 1 hour they were strong men, super strong, super strong. They would just face each other for 1 hour, so 1 hour happened with the same force being applied. Constant force was there. They were applying overall 20 Newton force this way, they were applying 20 Newton force this way. So when they add up, means when they subtract from each other, we get 0. So the net force was 0. So the rope didn't move. This may so happen, and sometimes if the force is too more, the rope would break. It would just go apart, it would break. Yes. Now let's get to the point. The two type of forces, the type of force in which the total, that is the net force, is equals to 0 is called a balanced force. For example, when we saw two persons pushing the middle one with equal forces was a balanced force. The force that doesn't work. The type of force where the net force is not equal to 0 is called an unbalanced force. For example, see, when one or two persons were pushing the block from one side, the force works there. The force was moving the object, right? Now let's see question number 2. Now you can just pause the video and give it a look. The questions here. Please answer this question. Give an example of game where the concept is applied. This concept means the concept of unbalanced and balanced forces, and explain that too. I very well explained you in the example of that Tug-of-War, right? Tug-of-War, yes. Please pause the video, give it a look, and answer the question in the comment section. We will discuss it in the next part. Here goes everything. Question number 3. Give the conquest. This is our whiteboard. Oops, I'm really sorry for this animation. Here comes the question. Give the conquest condition of pushing a box mentioned in PPT. As I showed you in this PPT, in this video, I have showed you some consequences and conditions of how to push a block or box. As I showed you that two persons from one side, two persons from opposite side, two persons from opposite, giving unequal forces, one person only, that all things. So mention it in the comment section. Like, share and subscribe School World. Please like, share and subscribe School World. Search in YouTube School World or Psyche By that time you will get our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.